the fuck are you doing? I told you. You can't go on American Ninja Warrior. You would have a heart attack before you got past the first obstacle.
I'm not going on American Ninja Warrior.
What the
I'm getting back into practice.
Yeah, you're getting back into practice. Got it.
I can still do this, okay? At any moment, the forces of evil are going to strike. And you know who and his trusty sidekick are going to be needed.
Oh, Skinny Man and his sidekick Dead Meat.
I keep telling you, Dead Meat is not the sidekick. It's Skinny Man.
Who drives the car? Oh, that's right. Skinny Man does. Who drives the car? Batman drives the car. Oh,
you know who else drove the car? Alfred. Batman's fucking chauffeur.
Yeah,
so guess
that's
what?
Because he was being Bruce Wayne.
Dead Meat is being chauffeured around by Skinny Man.
No, you're not being chauffeured in a luxury car.
I have work to do.
No. Keep practicing. You might get to 100. I don't know. Nothing.
Asshole. Welcome back, everybody, to the Comic Cave.
And of course, as always, this is
Bronco Juggalo
and Bill.
And today we are coming to you with 1990s Dick motherfucking Tracy. I said it. It's Penis Tracy, y'all.
Yeah.
Directed by Warren Beatty. Starring Warren Beatty as Dick Tracy, Madonna as Breathless Mahoney, and Al Pacino as Big Boy Caprice. This also has appearances from Dustin Hoffman, Kathy Bates, Paul Sorvino, James Caan, and William Forsythe. All have roles in this film. You could say that it was a star-studded event.
Yes, this had a lot of big names in it for such a low-budget film.
In this film, Dick Tracy, the famous detective who really needs no introduction, unless you're in this current generation, you have no idea who that is because you're a dumbass.
Yeah.
Takes on Big Boy Caprice and his mob. Now, Dick Tracy was like Batman, kind of without the secret identity, back in the 30s. And it was a comic strip that was really popular back then. And it was a comic strip that growing up Warren Beatty loved. And as he got, some sway in Hollywood, he tried to get this movie made. Well, it took him over 10 years to get this movie made.
It's a long time.
A long fucking time. This movie was in developmental hell since like 1979.
Ouch.
Finally, they went through all kinds of directors, including Spielberg. And finally, Beatty said, okay, you know what? I'll produce it. I'll direct it. He even put up some of the money to get the filming done. And I think that's pretty cool,
Yeah, and he did want a sequel, too, but he never got it.
At 52 years old, he played Dick Tracy in this movie, which that was one of the complaints that critics did have, was that he was too old to play Dick Tracy.
I didn't see it.
I didn't either. I think he did a really good job, and other than that, the critics really enjoyed the film for the most part. This movie did pretty well by our standards at the box office.
It made money.
$162 million on a $47 million budget, I believe. And according to the studio, which was owned by Disney, it was still a flop because it didn't make the $200 million that they expected it to.
They expected it to make what Ninja Turtles made at the
time. They
wanted
it to beat Ninja Turtles, which was the big hot ticket item at the moment.
I don't see this as a loss. You made over twice your money back.
Yeah, 3 times, practically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see it either, but they did. That's the way Hollywood is. I'll never get it. They want certain things to make so much money, and
I would just be happy with a profit.
And I'm sure it's made more now that it's been on DVD, VHS, Blu-ray, things like that.
I don't know if this ever got on Blu-ray.
I think it is on Blu-ray.
I
think it is. I think so. Not sure, but I'm pretty sure it is. I think I saw it on Hamilton Book.
Really?
I'll have to look. This was the final big blockbuster movie, and I do mean final big blockbuster movie, to use absolutely no CGI in its production. From 1990 on, every big blockbuster had somewhat of CGI in it.
This was all old school.
Yep, they did it with amazing artists doing matte paintings and glass paintings and all kinds of scenes to create these awesomely cool, colorful, and cartoony looking scenes that are just flat out amazing. This movie was nominated for 7 Academy Awards.
Not bad.
And it did win 3. It didn't take home all of them, but it took home a few, including Best Original Song, which is performed, of course, by Madonna. You know, something I want to say here, too, is I've said since I saw Evita, because, you know, and this came out before Evita, of course, but back when I was a kid, I didn't really pay much attention to Madonna. I've said since Evita came out that Madonna's not a bad actress.
No.
And I think she gets kind of a bad rap in the acting world, but she's not a bad actress. I think she does a pretty decent job.
No, she did a good job in this film, too.
So, guys, we're going to jump straight into pros and cons, because I don't think we have anything else really to say about this movie.
No, nothing else.
My first con, because that's what we're going to start with, because I know we both have less cons than pros.
Yeah.
My first and only con is that the first half of the film, for me, it's a bit slow.
For me, it wasn't. I was entertained the entire time.
I got some entertainment value out of the first half, but I really just thought it was kind of... It could have went a little quicker. I think in the second half of the film, it really picks up.
It does.
The first half, I was sitting there thinking, man, why did I enjoy this so much as a kid? But then the second half picked up, and I really got into it. And it does kind of make up for it in this one. It does help make up for the first half being a little slow. Not saying it was bad, it was just slow.
Okay. To each their own. My only con for this film is a little nitpicky, but they're trying to set up Dick Tracy for a trap. Dick Tracy pulls a fast one on him, and he gets into this box instead of this other guy getting dumped cement all over him, wet cement. And then he breaks out of the box and points his gun, click. Yeah, it's got some wet cement all over it, dumbass. It's not going to fire.
I think that kind of lends itself to the cartoon aspect of the show.
It's nitpicky, but that was my only comment. It's like, that's an automatic that you now have cement all over it. There's no way in hell it's going to work.
Yeah, a revolver would have, but...
And even a revolver, I wouldn't dare even try it, because what if
Easy to clean, though.
What if it got... The cement got down in the barrel, that bullet would not have
exited.
exited.
Wet enough, it probably would have exited still. If it was wet enough, I mean, if it wasn't too full.
If.
Yeah.
That's a big if. I would not take that chance myself.
Because, I mean, I don't know, you look at, like, shotguns, the people would load shotguns, like, down the barrel in front of the shell with different shit, and it to make it explode out, so...
You can do that, but this is cement, again.
Oh, it's still wet. It doesn't matter, though.
That was it.
We're going to have to try it.
I will be at a safe distance pulling on the trigger with a string.
Come on.
Oh, no, I'm not going to do something like that. Fuck that. That's all I need is to have it blow up and blow my own head off because my gun blew up in my face.
Remember, kids, when handling firearms, always fill them with cement first.
Always remember, he's an idiot.
Do not take gun advice from us.
No, don't take gun advice from him.
In all seriousness, don't do any of that shit at home, kids.
No.
Did you have any more cons?
No, that was it.
Okay.
That was it. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I have always enjoyed this movie.
Too. I did enjoy it as well. It was, like I said, it was a bit slow, but that's not always a bad thing. It just, for me, in a comic book action movie, I want to see it a little quicker.
Like I said, it didn't bother me as much as it did you.
Yeah. So, and like I said, once the second half started, I was like, okay, cool.
All right.
So, I guess it's pros time, guys. I'm just going to lead off with my first pro, Madonna's outfits. First thing I noticed about the movie, Madonna's, well, not the first thing I noticed, but the first thing I was like, oh yeah, Madonna's outfits.
I haven't seen a picture of her lately. She's still looking pretty good.
I don't know. I really haven't seen much about her since that whole fucking ray of light fucking thing she did, or whatever the fuck that was. That was like 15 years ago.
Huh, no wonder.
So,
She ain't dead, I know that.
no. Last time I saw her, I think she was kissing Britney Spears. And that was like I said, 10, 15 years ago. Something like that. It was a long time ago.
Boy, I never got to see that. I wish I had.
Yeah, you can find it online.
All right, my first pro for this film is the characters, especially our mobster characters. The way they look, the way their personalities are. They're just so different. Every last one of them, the way they look, their personalities, and it's so over the top.
Yeah, they definitely leaned very heavy on the comic strip
aspect
of it. They really, I mean, they're over the top, but their personalities are on their faces.
Yeah.
And I mean that quite literally. Their names are based around what they look like. So,
or some other mannerism like mumbles.
Yeah, like mumbles, right. It's straight out of the comic strip. They were the extreme camp, and
Yes.
it does definitely work. And it's very, very colorful. All the mobsters are dressed in bright colored zoot suits. It looks really good. It's really cartoonish, but it's done cartoonish with this. Okay, this isn't just a silly film we're watching. Yes, it is kind of funny,
but
and it's kind of goofy, but it's still fun.
serious.
It's a movie an adult would enjoy or could enjoy.
Yes.
The first thing that grabs me is also a physical aspect of this movie, and that is the look and style that it was filmed in.
The paintings.
Yes, done so well. I was curious
This is a
too.
pro of mine too.
Without CGI, I was like, how did they do these things? Like, you see these awesome city landscapes, and they're done kind of like in a kind of cool world. That's the movie I want to use, Cool World.
Yeah.
Kind of animation
I would go
aspect.
That way, yeah.
And then you see like the character emerging from a doorway off in the distance, and you see
Done very well.
the cars driving down the road, and you're like, how did they do that? Well, I found out what they did is they painted it onto glass. They filmed all the shots like at a distance, so it would look far away, and then they just inserted the glass painting in front of the camera and shot through it, and that's how they did it. And I was just blown away by that. I was like, man.
Yes.
And these days they'll use fucking CGI and it don't look half that fucking good.
No.
And I am a promoter of CGI. You know that I have no problem with CGI. In fact, we had a big discussion about that this past weekend on a stream.
Oh yeah.
You know, places where I thought CGI did have a place in horror if done well. And it's the same thing. It has to be done well no matter what it's in.
CGI can have a place in any film as long as it's done well.
Mm-hmm.
If it looks like shit, it looks like shit.
But the fact that they pulled off this effect without CGI,
I love it.
To me, was amazing because it just looks. It looks like something a camera would have to do. It looks like something a computer would have to do to marry that animation with the live action.
But no, it's awesome. This is a pro of mine as well. And it's so awesome because they didn't use CGI, and it looks better than most CGI.
Right.
So this would be a pro of mine as well. All right, my next pro for this film is how it feels like a radio show, like those old radio shows over the radio. This whole movie feels like a radio show that people used to listen to on their radios when there wasn't television.
Dick Tracy was a radio show.
He did have a radio show too, and it just felt that way. The entire movie, it felt like you're watching a radio show on TV.
Yeah, I think they even did a Dick Tracy meets the Shadow once.
Oh.
You know, back in the 40s or so. Which, you know, those were two big personalities at the time.
They were.
Comic and
The Shadow even got his own movie in the 90s,
got
didn't he?
No, it was in the 2000s.
Was it 2000?
Well, he may have got one in the 90s too. I don't remember. I know he got one in the 2000s. It was done because it was done after. It was done by the same guys that did 300 and shit like that in Sin City.
Okay,
it was done kind of in the same style of Sin City.
Still,
yeah.
Nice to see some of these old things get some movies.
Actually, it was done by Disney, I think, because Michael Eisner did that movie.
Really?
Yeah, because I think he kind of is like the comic, or I think it was Michael Eisner. I think I don't fucking remember. We'll look into that and we'll get back with you.
Yeah, we're getting off too much on tangent here. What do you have next?
My next one is the performance of Al Pacino.
Ah.
Al Pacino has played in mob movies since mob movies have practically been invented.
Yes.
You know, if you ask me, Al Pacino is like the quintessential player for mafia films, along with Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci.
Yep.
But Al Pacino, yes, he's playing another big mob figure, but he does it in such a fun and slapstick way. And he just so over the top. And you could tell he was having a blast while doing it. And Al Pacino is not actually the tallest of people. And Big Boy Caprice actually looks quite big, except he's hunched over all the time. And honestly, what I think they did was he walked upright and they built like a thing on his back or whatever to make him look.
They could have done that, yeah.
You know, like he was hunching over, but he wasn't. At least I don't think he was. I mean, he didn't look like he was. Or he looked about the same height as he always does, you know?
Yeah.
But that's just, I don't know. I wasn't there. Maybe if I see a behind-the-scenes documentary on it or something, maybe I can check into that. But I think that he just did such a good job. You could tell he had so much fun.
You can tell they all had fun on this film.
Whether it's a drama, whether it's an action movie, whether it's him playing a balls-out character like Scarface, or him playing a funny character like Big Boy Caprice, he gives it his all every time.
He delivers.
And I just loved Al Pacino in this movie.
That's awesome. Well, I just have one more pro for this film, and that's the end of this film. You get everything in this ending. You get the classic mobsters and cops shootout. But then you also get Al Pacino's character taking Dick Tracy's woman and tying her up to a giant gear and a clock. So you get that old school instead of train tracks.
Tying the damsel up.
Yeah, tying the damsel up and everything. And then you also get a Scooby-Doo moment at the end here, too, where...
with the reveal of
the no-face.
The real big bad, you know?
Yeah. And it reminded me of that Scooby-Doo episode, The No-Face Zombie. Instead of a robot this time, it ends up being Madonna's character.
Yeah.
Spoiler. But yeah, I love the end just because it has everything in it.
Mm-hmm.
It is just a very fun ending.
And that fun ending actually leans right into my next pro as well. I love how fun and cheesy this movie is. We have Al Pacino, like I said earlier, serious actor Al Pacino, playing Big Boy Caprice in the most over-the-top fun style. He is getting in there among chorus girls and doing their dance routines and showing them what they did wrong. The end scenes with the tying of the damsel on the gears, the over-the-top cartoon antics of the movie, the set designs, everything about this movie just screams, let's have fun.
Yes.
And I loved that about it. And it is cheesy. So one of the few negative reviews on this movie was basically, they tried to do what Batman did, but didn't do it as well.
They weren't trying to be Batman.
It's a different kind of movie than Batman, but I will say Danny Elfman did the score on this and on Batman.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So the music does kind of sound a bit like the Batman score because it's done by the same guy. A lot of his scores sound alike.
Yeah, with Danny Elfman, you're not going to get much of a difference between this movie and that movie that he's done.
Unless it's The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Well, Danny Elfman's worked on tons of Tim Burton films, and they all have this kind of similar feel to them.
True.
So, the last thing I want to talk about before we exit this segment, guys, is this fucking awesome shirt that Bill is wearing.
Oh, what?
Anybody else remember the Black Star cartoons from the 80s? Me.
Well, I definitely do. I'm wearing the shirt.
It was so much fun. I love that, and I love this shirt.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That is all for today, guys. I'm Bronco Juggalo.
And this is Bill.
And I'm saying peace.
And good night.
Talking about mob shit. Couple $100 grand, nah, it ain't much. One phone call, you can